Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Sehen. I am the Treasurer and Secretary of the TJRyan Foundation. I would like to welcome you all here today. Before I introduce our facilitator, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land on which we meet and pay my respects to those past, present, and emerging. It's with great pleasure that I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Mary Crawford, who will be our facilitator for today. Mary was the former federal member for Forde and Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister for Housing and Regional Development. Before being appointed as Executive Director of the TJRyan Foundation earlier this year, Mary was the President for the National Foundation for Australian Women, also known as NFAW. NFAW sets the agenda on women's issues nationally and gives a collective voice for all Australian women. Mary has dedicated her life's work to creating, advocating, and helping others create policies and programs which assist the most marginalised people within our society, with a particular focus on women issues. So I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Mary Crawford.
Thanks very much, Stephanie, and welcome to everybody. The couple of housekeeping matters first. The most important thing, the toilets are out the front door and past the lifts. They're actually got the best views in the building. They're on the river. The fire escape is down the back there. And of course, can I ask you if you bring in any cups and things that you take them back out as well, because they have some very rigid rules in relation to cleanliness and maintenance of the room. Can I just say what a pleasure it is to be here today. TJRyan Foundation, as you know, is a not-for-profit think tank which seeks to develop evidence-based policy for Queensland governments, hopefully of all persuasions. Inequality, of course, has become a very important issue in current thinking. We have seen everyone from the OECD to even Australian government's concerns for the growth in inequality, where we have 1% of Australians owning as much as the bottom 70%. I think we have a society that is in difficulty. We also need to think about, of course, a society that's unequal is in fact more violent, more difficult, and now it has been revealed, research suggests that this is the end of the Washington Consensus and the trickle-down actually hasn't trickled. So that capitalism itself is in crisis. And I guess that would be enough to spur action. So we're hopeful today with all our speakers to in fact set some parameters and some policy settings on which we can advise the current Queensland State Government. We look forward to your participation. Can I also say we're a voluntary organisation. We exist on a website. All the presentations today are being live streamed and will be available on the TJRyan Foundation website, as will the presentations throughout the day. Eventually, it may be a week or two, but they will be. So without further ado, can I invite Professor Roger Scott to welcome Uncle Bob Anderson. Thank you.
My task is quite simple, to introduce somebody that I'm sure most of you know, and Bob has three important contributions he's made to Queensland political life. The first is as an elder from Quandamooka and has seen through the native title developments and is still engaged very actively in the Quandamooka Development Corporation. Secondly, he has a proud history of being again governments and has been, and we'll be talking later next week about his role in the various protest movements that have operated. And thirdly, and significantly for this organisation, he has an impeccable trade union history, Building Workers Industrial Union for 20-something years, is an honorary member of the CFMEU, and has been an active organiser in the trade union movement for most of his working life. So he has enormous benefits of wisdom to offer us. So let us hear from Bob. Uncle Bob.
Yura, going into the army, Tuju Mobi Rono, going into the army. Words of welcome as a Jagera elder. I welcome you to this land of the Jagera people, Aboriginal land, always was and always will be. I'm delighted to participate with the TJRyan's celebrations today, and my association with TJ, called him as when I was a schoolboy, I used to come into the city to gather a couple of ports of towels from one of the government offices when my mother was a government cleaner. And I'd pick the ports up and I'd go round to the front of the old treasury to catch the tram. And there was TJ on his perch there. So I remember TJ from the days of my boyhood. And I always remember too the caption, Queensland's first statesman is the caption on his perch there. So my association with TJ started as my days as a schoolboy. I started an apprenticeship as a carpenter in 1944, and in 1945 I started coming down to the precincts, these precincts, which then was the Central Technical College. So I used to pass TJ all the time, so we've got that long association. So remembering the contribution that TJ made to the labour movement is very important to those of us who are the true believers. And again, I would say my association with the trade union political movement is a long one. I joined the East Brisbane branch of the Australian Labor Party in 1950 and my trade union in 1951. As an activist, I was one of the elected state organisers of the Building Workers Industrial Union, now the CFMEU, for 14 years. So you might say, as a working class man from a working class family, I've been walking the beat for a long time. So I am pleased as a Jagera elder to welcome you to Jagera country. Enjoy your stay here, and in time to come, you will remember this occasion where we met on the banks of Maiwar, the river, and its association with this wonderful city. Thank you very much.